Well, I think we all knew what was going to happen here. Hey there, YouTube, it's Bobby, aka Paginator, and I'm here today with a book haul. I have 18 books. I went shopping yesterday and then went shopping again. Alright, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time justifying my purchases. However, I do want to say it's Mother's Day when I'm filming this. Obviously yesterday, the day before Mother's Day. I went to a play. I was really excited to get to go. Went to Barnes & Noble before the play, and then went to a different Barnes & Noble on the way home because I have compulsion issues with my anxiety, and I was self-medicating. So, without any further explanation or justification, we're just going to dive into these books, and here we go. So the first one is Sunshine by Robin McKinley. This has been out for ages. It is a vampire story, and I heard the ladies on the HeyYA book podcast talking about this and how much they really loved it, and that it's much better written than a certain vampire series that's very famous. Next we have a graphic novel. This is Flamer by Mike Curato, and I heard the author speaking during Y'all West. It was a couple of weekends ago, and he spoke about this graphic novel. Our main character here is struggling with his sexuality, super crushing on this guy that he's kind of bunkmates with at boys camp over the summer, and he is getting bullied and picked on quite a bit because people just assume that he's gay, and he hasn't even admitted to himself whether he might be, but he's starting to question, and it was just really, really well done. Up next we have This Is Our Story by Ashley Elston. I am a big fan of this author. I have another book from her in this haul as well. And this is a mystery story. The tagline says 5 went in, 4 came out. No one knows what happened. I'm going to read a little bit from the back now. No one knows what happened that morning at River Point. 5 boys went hunting. 4 came back. The boys won't say who fired the shot that killed their friend Grant. The evidence shows it could have been any one of them. Scary. But this is age rated that it would be appropriate for middle schoolers, and my middle schoolers wanted me to get a mystery book when I went shopping this weekend, so I think this will be the one that I bring in for them to read. Up next we have a National Book Award finalist and another graphic novel. This is When Stars Are Scattered by Victoria Jameson and Omar Mohammed, and this is the true story of Omar. He and his younger brother Hassan are living in a refugee camp in Kenya. There's a very difficult life there. There's hardly ever enough food. Things are just very, very rough. Hardly any medical care. And Omar's brother is nonverbal and has special needs. Omar is given the chance to go to school, but it would mean leaving his brother, who is his only family member, alone every day. So Omar Mohammed, who experienced this, is from Somalia and was then in the refugee camp. He told his story to Victoria Jameson, and she turned it into this graphic novel, and I've really enjoyed her other graphic novels in the past, so very interested to read this one. I should go back for a minute and say I read Flamer yesterday, the entire thing. After I went to the first bookstore, I had some time before my play was going to start, so I went to a little diner to have a meal, and I sat there and read this book while I ate and of course waited for the bill to come and those kind of things, and I really, really enjoyed it. So okay, back on track here. The next book is another one that I heard about on the HeyYA podcast, Girls Made of Snow and Glass by Melissa Bashardust. She what's the Girl Serpent Thorn is her other book, and I really, really enjoyed her writing in that one. And this is a Snow White retelling, and as I'm really trying to dive deep into fantasy, I really wanted to pull some retellings into that selection, so I was able to find the only copy in the Barnes & Noble store and grab it. Another one I got is Curse of the Night Witch by Alex Astor. This is the first in a series called Emblem Island, and it says, on Emblem Island, all are born with markings that dictate their fates. Their lifelines show the course of their lives, and emblems decide their talents. 12-year-old Tor Luna was born to be the future leader of his village, but he hates his leadership emblem and is determined to choose a new path for himself. On the annual New Year's Eve celebration, Tor wishes for a different emblem and future. The next morning, Tor wakes up to discover a new marking on his skin, a symbol of a curse that has shortened his lifeline, giving him 1 week before an untimely death. The only way to break the curse is to find the notorious Night Witch, who most believe is legend. This sounds like a really fantastic middle grade adventure. And it is also the monthly pick for Barnes & Noble in the middle grade section. And most of the time they do a pretty good job picking books for their monthly picks. So anyway, there we go. This next one was actually super impulsive pickup. It is Maisie by Melanie Crowder. And it says, Small Town Girl, Big Broadway Dreams. I just kind of fell in love with the cover, and it's talking about a girl named Maisie who's always longed to be on Broadway, but growing up in her small Nebraska town in 1959, getting to New York is like an impossible dream. And so she has an opportunity to go and spend 6 weeks auditioning. Doesn't say how the opportunity comes up, but she decides she's going to leave everyone and everything behind and go to New York City. Of course, it's going to be a shock to the senses. She's going to be homesick and missing those she left behind. And so we'll see what happens. Does she make it on the Broadway? We shall see. Next, we have my other Ashley Elston book. This is her new one, 10 Truths in a Dare. She also spoke at Y'all West, and I think she might be my author kindred spirit because she said her essential item for writing is Diet Dr. Pepper. Me too. I'm like addicted to that stuff. Diet Dr. Pepper and books. Like, I could spend my entire paycheck on those two things. But anyway, Ashley Elston writes clean reads for teenagers. Her book, 10 Blind Dates, is absolutely phenomenal. Loved it, loved it. This one says, it's senior party week, that magical in-between time after classes have ended but before graduation. Chock full of gimmicky theme parties, last-minute bonding, and family traditions, Olivia couldn't be more ready. Class salutatorian and confident in her future at LSU, she's posed to sail through the next phase of her life. But when a tiny hiccup of an unsigned PE form puts Olivia in danger of not graduating at all, she has 1 week to set things straight without tipping off her big, noisy, extended family. Volunteering at a local golf tournament should do it, but since Olivia's mom equipped her phone with a tracking app, there will be no hiding the fact that she's at the golf course instead of all the graduation parties happening at the same time. Unless, that is, she can convince the rest of the Fab Four, her ride-or-die cousins, and best friends Sophie, Charlie, and Wes, to trade phones with her and go through the motions of playing Olivia for the week. Very intriguing premise. Very odd that she'd worry about her mom seeing her at a golf club, though. If I had a senior child who'd just graduated and they were at a golf club instead of partying, I think I'd be relieved. I don't know. Perhaps I'm thinking too much like an adult for this situation. Up next we have May the Best Man Win by Z.R. Eller. And this one you can see, we have a dude in a football helmet, but he's not the main character. It says, Jeremy Harkis, cheer captain and student body president, won't let coming out as a transgender boy ruin his senior year. Instead of bowing to bigots and outdated school administration, Jeremy decides to make some noise, and how better than by challenging his all-star ex-boyfriend Lucas for the title of Homecoming King. This sounds very intriguing. High school drama, like, to the max. Lucas, of course, is the football star and head of the homecoming committee. And I'm not sure if this alternates between Jeremy and Lucas. I suppose I could just flip through and look at the chapter titles and see. Oh, yes, I do see one with Lucas at the top of the chapter. And trying to find another one. Oh, that's a long chapter. Yep, there's Jeremy. So they are going to take turns telling this story. It says Lucas is just trying to find order in his life after his older brother's funeral and loss of his long-term girlfriend, who turned out to be a boy. But when Jeremy threatens to break his heart and steal his crown, Lucas kickstarts his plot to sabotage Jeremy's campaign. Wow. Yikes. That's a lot to deal with for both of them. Okay. Alright, this next book I picked up at the first Barnes & Noble and then put back on the shelf, and I couldn't stop thinking about it, which is largely why I went to the second Barnes & Noble that was on my way home. So this is City of the Uncommon Thief. We have some different animals here on the cover, including a horse, which is my fave. I'll read to you. In a walled city of mile-high iron guild towers, many things are common knowledge. No book in any of the city's libraries reveals its place on a calendar or a map. No living beast can be found within the city's walls, and no good comes to the gilder or foundling who strays too far from their labors. Even on the tower rooftops, where Errol Thebes and the rest of the city's teenagers pass a few short years under an open sky, no one truly believes anything uncommon is possible within the city walls. But one guild master has broken tradition to protect her child, and now the whole city faces an uncommon threat. A pair of black iron spikes that have the power of both sword and needle on the rib cages of men has gone missing, but the deadly mayhem that causes arises everywhere. If the spikes are not found and contained, no wall will be high enough to protect the city or world beyond it. And Errol Thebes, he's not dead, and he's certainly not safe. Something about the idea of those spikes and like what a strange, like, unique thing, like, it just kept tugging at my mind. So we had to get this. Next we have another middle grade, and this is another one that I heard about from Y'all West. This is Confessions of a Dork Lord by Mike Johnston, illustrated by Marta Altes. And this is about the son of a Dark Lord, and he's like destined to take over things, but he's really dorky, he's not good at anything. And the author talked about wanting to give this character like no talents, just he struggles with all this stuff. So it's not Confessions of a Dark Lord, it's Confessions of a Dork Lord, because he struggles so much. There are a few illustrations in this book. We have some that are small, like this here, and then we have some that are more of a full page spread. I will find one for you here. Like this, we have a whole page illustration of a very cranky person in a library. How can you be cranky in a library? That's just weird. But it sounds like just a fun little read. Next we have The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joanne He, and this one just sounds beautiful. It says, it's been 3 years and 17 days since C woke up on the shore of an abandoned island. She has no idea how she came to be marooned or what her life was like before. She has only the rickety house by the sea and the android she built for company and a single memory. Somewhere beyond the horizon she has a sister, and it's up to C to escape the island and find her. A world away, 16-year-old STEM prodigy Casey is also looking to escape from the science she once believed in and from her home. The eco-cities, Earth's last unpolluted habitats, are meant to be a sanctuary for those from deserving lineages, for those committed to planetary protection, but instead they're populated by people willing to do anything for refuge, even lie. After a series of man-made disasters rock the planet, Casey must decide if she's ready to use science to help humanity, even though it failed the people who matter most to her. So is Casey C's sister? If not, then that's weird. But hopefully C can find her sister and not have to live on the island anymore. Next we have another book that I heard about from Y'all West, and this is Somewhere Between Bitter and Sweet by, I hope I say this right, Laikan Zia Kemp. This is about Penelope. Says Penelope Prado has always dreamed of opening her own pasteleria next to her father's restaurant Nacho's Tacos. But her mom and dad have different plans, leaving Pen to choose between not disappointing her traditional Mexican-American parents or following her own path. When she confesses a secret she's been keeping, her world is sent into a tailspin, but then she meets a cute new hire at Nacho's who sees through her hard exterior and asks the questions she's been too afraid to ask herself. Xander Amaro has been searching for a home since he was a little boy. For him, a job at Nachos is an opportunity for just that, a chance at a normal life, to settle in at his abuelos and to find the father who left him behind. But when both the restaurant and Xander's immigrant status are threatened, he will do whatever it takes to protect his newfound family and himself. Together, Penn and Xander must navigate first love and discover where they belong in order to save the place they all call home. Fantastic. Guys, we still have quite a few to go. I hope you're hanging in with me. Alright, the next one is Oddity. This is by Eli Brown, and the tagline says, "Fire burns, ice melts, unless you have an oddity." This caught my eye because I love strange and odd things. And as I read the first few lines of the dust jacket, maybe you'll see why it again appealed to my enjoyment of odd things. A teapot that never empties. An ice hook that freezes any water it touches, and an ember that burns without end. Clover Elkin lives in a land of marvels at the edge of the 11 unified states. She dreams of a life of buckskin adventure, collecting wondrous oddities as her late mother did before her, but her ever-practical doctor father tells her to see the body before you. Across the border is French Louisiana, rival to her young country and the source of escalating tensions that threaten more than her peaceful mountain home. When her father is killed defending her from lawless men, his last words sent her on a quest to protect the most necessary oddity, one that could help start a war or end it. So we're going back into the past, but like a different past, and it seems so interesting and intriguing. I was like, yes, must have it. It is a middle grade, or at least it was in the middle grade section, and we do have a few illustrations. Here's one here, of a girl dancing on the stage with a tambourine, and it looks very old westerny kind of vibey kind of things. Okay, up next we have Bedazzled by Ryan LaSala, another podcast encouraged purchase. I heard Ryan talking to Marissa Meyer on her podcast, The Happy Writer, about this book, and it seemed like so much fun. It is about Raffi, who has a passion for bedazzling, and he's really into design, like sewing, stitching, draping, pattern making, very Project Runway. And he's always chosen his art over everything and everyone. Says here, he is determined to make his mark at this year's biggest cosplay competition. If he can wow there, it could lead to sponsorship, then art school, and finally earning real respect for his work. There's only one small problem. Raffi's ex-boyfriend, Luca, is his main competition. So we're going to have ex-boyfriends competing in a design competition. This sounds very juicy and drama-filled, for sure. It goes on to say, Raffi tried to make it work with Luca. They made almost the perfect team last year after serendipitously meeting in the rhinestone aisle at a local craft store. At least Raffi thought they did, but Luca's insecurities and Raffi's insistence on crafting perfection caused their relationship to crash and burn. Now Raffi is after the perfect comeback, one that Luca can't ruin. But when Raffi is forced to partner with Luca on his most ambitious build yet, he'll have to juggle unresolved feelings for the boy who broke his heart and his own intense self-doubt to get everything he's ever wanted, choosing his art his way. So, two boys that met in a craft store, that's cute. Forced to compete together, but they're ex-boyfriends, also cute. Like, this is definitely one I'm going to save for once school's out, because at that time I just feel like diving into like super cute, fun, flirty stories. Next up we have an impulse buy based on the cover. This is Ever Cursed by Corey Ann Haydu, and it is about the princess of Ever. Actually, princesses. It says the princesses of Ever are beloved by the kingdom and their father, the king. They are cherished, admired, and cursed. Jane, Alice, Nora, Grace, and Eden carry the burden of being punished for a crime they did not commit or even know about. They are each cursed to be without one essential thing, the ability to eat, sleep, love, remember, or hope. And their mother, the queen, is imprisoned, frozen in time, in an unbreakable glass box. So the cover initially drew me in, and then I was reading that description and was like, wow, this sounds amazing. Eden is going to be our main character, and the curse sets in on her 13th birthday, and the princesses are given an opportunity to break their curses to prevent them from like having to live with this their entire life. So we'll see if they can take it head on. 2 more books. We're almost there. Next we have Cia Martinez and the Moonlit Beginning of Everything. This is by Raquel Vasquez Gilliland. Gilliland, yes. We have our main character, Cia, and 3 years prior, ICE, the immigration people, were raiding, and her mom disappeared, so she's assuming that ICE took her. Cia wants to move on, but people refer to her mom's deportation as an unfortunate incident, and they're not like getting like, this is devastating, it's my mom, like, hello. It says Cia knows her mom must be dead, but every new moon Cia drives into the desert and lights St. Anthony and La Guadalupe candles to guide her mom home. Then one night under a million stars, Cia's life and the world she knows, it cracks wide open. Because a blue-lit spacecraft crashes in front of Cia's car, and it's carrying her mom, who's very much alive. It's so crazy. As Cia races to save her mom from armed, quite possibly alien soldiers, she uncovers secrets as profound as they are dangerous in this stunning, genre-bending exploration of first love, family, immigration, and our vast, limitless universe. I mean, does this not sound cool or what? Oh my goodness. And there's totally, there's going to be totally play with that word alien, like illegal alien versus alien from space and all. Oh, yeah. It sounds fantastic. Alright, this last book I had no intention of buying, but I was at that second bookstore that I went to, and there was a giant stack of them, and they looked so pretty, and a voice came on the loudspeaker in the store saying, "We're getting ready to close in 30 minutes. Please head to the register." And I started to panic, and when my body goes into panic mode, I do weird, impulsive things. So I picked up Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. The reason I didn't have any intention of buying it is because I still haven't finished the Cruel Prince series. Or not the Cruel Prince, the Red Queen series, sorry. I have not finished that series. I read the first one and absolutely loved it. I read the second one and I was like, okay, this is pretty good. And then when the third one came out, I actually went to an event, met Victoria Aveyard. She signed my copy of the book. I read about 50 pages and stopped and haven't come back to it yet. And I thought, well, I really should finish that series before I pick up her new one, but did I listen to myself? No. So, we have In the Dust Jacket. A strange darkness is growing in the ward. Even Coraine and Amarat can feel it, tucked away in her small town at the edge of the sea. Fate knocks on her door in the form of a mythical immortal and a lethal assassin who tell Coraine that she is the last of an ancient lineage with the power to save the world from destruction. Because a man who would burn kingdoms to the ground is raising an army unlike any seen before, bent on uprooting the foundations of the world with poison in his heart and a stolen sword in his hand, he'll break the realm itself to claim it, and only Coraine can stop him. So, definitely going to help with my deep dive into fantasy and cool female protagonists and stuff, I'm hoping. So there's my haul. That was a lot of books. If you stuck in with me all the way to the end, thank you so much. If you have read any of these books, let me know whether you enjoyed them or not. As I said, the only one that I've actually read is Flamer because it was a graphic novel. I was able to read it yesterday, so I'm going to get moving on these other ones soon and really, 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 really try not to buy anymore for a while. My only exception I'm allowing myself is any books that are required for my grad school classes. So I can do this. I can do this. All right. Let's wrap this sucker up. You guys have a wonderful, magical, and bookish day. Happy reading. Adios.